We are covering the moving expense deduction, a topic that became much simpler yet more prone to trick questions after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Prior to this law, many taxpayers could deduct work-related moving costs. Now, through 2025, this deduction is exclusively available to active duty members of the armed forces. The exam will absolutely test this by presenting a scenario with a civilian, like an engineer who relocates for a new job. That engineer's moving expenses are not deductible, period. The only taxpayer who can claim this deduction is a member of the U.S. Armed Forces on active duty who moves because of a permanent change of station, often called a PCS. This includes a move from their home to their first post of duty, a move between permanent posts, or a move from their last post back home. A critical point of confusion the exam exploits is the application of the old distance and time tests. For military members, these tests do not apply. If a civilian were still able to claim the deduction, their new job would have to be at least 50 miles farther from their old home than their old job was. For military members, a move of any distance qualifies as long as it's a PCS. So what exactly can be deducted? The deduction covers the reasonable, unreimbursed costs to move the taxpayer, their spouse, and their dependents, along with their household goods and personal effects. This breaks down into two main categories. First is the cost of moving household goods, which includes what you pay a moving company, packing and crating costs, and even storing and insuring these items for any consecutive 30-day period after they are moved from your old home and before they are delivered to your new one. The second category is travel costs for the family from the old home to the new home. This includes lodging and transportation. For transportation, you can deduct the actual cost of gas and oil for your car, or you can use the standard mileage rate for moving, which is 22 cents per mile for 2024. You must use the method that yields the lower deduction, unless you use the standard rate, which is simpler. The key is that these expenses are only deductible to the extent they are not reimbursed by the government. Let's use an exam-style example. Sergeant Miller receives a PCS order to move his family from Texas to Virginia, a 1,500-mile trip. He pays a moving company $6,000, of which the military reimburses him for $5,000. He and his family drive their personal car, spending $450 on hotels for 2 nights and $250 on meals. To calculate his deduction, we start with the unreimbursed moving cost, which is $1,000. Next, we calculate travel. The lodging of $450 is deductible. For the car, using the standard rate is 1,500 miles times 22 cents, which equals $330. Now for the most common exam trap, meals. The cost of meals while traveling for a move is never deductible, not even for military members. So we ignore the $250. Sergeant Miller's total moving expense deduction is $1,000 for the movers, plus $450 for lodging, plus $330 for mileage, for a total of $1,780. This is claimed on Form 3903 and is an above-the-line deduction, meaning it reduces his adjusted gross income. To help remember the key rules, use the phrase PCS, pack, cars, sleep. The PCS reminds you it's for a permanent change of station only. PAC stands for packing and moving your household goods. CARS represents your transportation costs, like mileage, and SLEEP represents your lodging expenses. Notice what's missing: meals. The S in SLEEP can remind you that sustenance is specifically excluded. The exam will try to trip you up by including meals or describing a non-military move. Stick to the PCS rule and the PAC, CARS, SLEEP components, and you'll correctly identify the deduction.